Hey, yo, check it out. Quick message. I know y'all seen the title. This is something that, I think a lot of people know. Um, but there ain't nothing wrong with a little bit of reinforcement. So a few years back, man, my little daughter, um, she was bothering me about one of her friends coming over to stay the night. She had mentioned the little girl a few times, and I was just like, okay, I didn't meet their parents yet. Give me their parents' number, and we'll see. Okay, if you do your chores and stuff like that, we'll see. If I let the little girl come over, right? It's got nothing to do with being selfish or anything like that. It's just something to where, you just don't want to invite anybody to your house, especially kids, right? And so she bothered me, maybe about for 2 weeks, and I think it was more so of the little girl inquiring about coming over. And so I ended up letting her come over eventually. They were happy, they played, they did their thing or whatever. And, I noticed the little girl was kind of a little different because she wasn't used to being around us, I guess I would say. And so, she came over and let them play, do their thing. Forwarding. It was when I was working at one point, and they didn't have school that day. That this one particular day, they didn't have school. So I said, why don't you ask your friend, can you guys go over there and hang out and chill out, while I'm at work, because the girl, the first time she came, she wanted to come back again. And I was like, at some point, you gotta go home, right? And so I said, you know what, I'll make a deal. I gotta work on this particular day. I'll let them come over. I'll let my daughter come over and hang out with you. And she said, okay. I talked to her mom, confirmed it with her mom. And her mom was like, no problem, we'll be here, blah, blah, blah. So the morning of the day that I had to go to work, the day that we all agreed upon, my kid's gone over to her friend's house now. I called them early in the morning, got them up ready, got them dressed before I go to work, gave them a little breakfast. And I said, go ahead and call your friends. Call your friend and see if they're up because I'm about to go. And I want to know that they're going to be up and ready to receive you guys. And so we called, they answered the phone, and I said, listen, we're about 2 minutes away because they live local. They live not too far from us. And so we called, and as we arrived, I got out. I noticed that the front of the house was having some work done to it, so I called again. And I said, which way do I bring them in? That's what I called for. And so I'm calling, and no one answers the phone. Mind you, we just talked to them maybe less than 5 minutes prior. Called again. So I said, okay, that's weird. We just talked. I said, maybe they fell back to sleep. So I stayed another 5-10 minutes. By this time, I'm running late for work. I called again. Never no answer. And so moving forward, I said, you know what? I gotta go, guys. I'm gonna bring you guys back home. Maybe when they wake back up, maybe when her mom wake back up, she'll give you guys a call, and she'll probably call me and say, okay, I'm gonna come and get them, and that would have been fine. But guess what, guys? She never called. And I was a little upset, but I was kind of thankful because it taught my daughter a valuable lesson. Here it is. She bothered me the whole 2 weeks about someone coming over into our personal space that I wasn't really crazy about because I didn't know the kid. But I wanted her to see how people do. You went out your way, gave her what you want, invited her into your space, and it was time for you to come over there, which I really would have been, I could have used a little help knowing that her mom would have watched over you guys while I was at work. It gave me some type of satisfaction because I knew somebody was looking over my kids, but the fact that the mom never even responded, and I wanted my daughter to take note, and I wanted all my kids to take note. Like, sometimes you gotta distance your people from you, and sometimes you have to just know who you're dealing with, and God will send you discernment. How many times has it been that you've been around somebody in less than 5 minutes, you can tell if you want to be around that person? Follow those instincts. I'm learning to do that more and more every day. I have some experiences myself with people. Me personally, I keep to myself. If it ain't family or close friends that I know for a long time, I don't just fool with people, and I don't invite them into my space like that. Because it seems to me that once people figure you out from the inside after looking at you from the outside, once they see what you have to offer them from the inside, meaning your personal space, if it ain't up to what they want, they're on to the next. Perfect example. I live in Georgia. I'm originally from Connecticut. So I get a lot of people from my hometown and in other places, that tells me, yo, when I come down, I'm gonna come down and I got something going on down there. I want to know if I can we can get up, or if I can stay with you or whatever. And I'm not really cool with that because I'm a pretty busy person. But there's been times that I gave in and said, okay, cool, you can come through. Once they seen that I wasn't moving how they wanted me to move, I ain't never really heard from them again. And that happened on numerous occasions. So just shout out to all the people, man. If you got some people in your life that that give you discernment, cut them off, man. I don't care if it's family, friends, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? If they're the type of people that ain't gonna rock with you when you going through something and things are not as great for you at the moment, cut them off, man. We don't need fair weather friends. We don't do fair weather friends around here. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to share that. I think, a lot of people needed to hear that. I've gotten to the point to where I just started deleting people off my phone. I'm like, why do I have this people in my phone? Why do I have this person in my contact list? Like, they don't serve me no purpose. You know what I'm saying? So, but I do shout out to all my good friends, all my good family, all my good people that, somebody's trying to call me, that, that got my back 100%. You know what I'm saying? And I don't have to speak to them every day to know they got my back. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to speak to them. I can go years without speaking to them, and we can pick up the phone and just start talking like we never even stop talking with each other. So I was thinking about that today. Didn't want to really talk about no current events, no topics. Just something that I was just, basically building with my kids earlier. And I said, you know what? There's probably a lot of people that experience that, fake friends. We all heard the stories. So just keep that in mind. Human beings are the most intelligent animal, so they say, on the face of the earth. But I kind of beg to differ. I think human beings are really kind of too smart for their own good. I think they have too much knowledge, and a lot of times they'll use it in the wrong way. I think a lot of animals are smarter than human beings, basically. I mean, you can look up in the sky and see birds flying in unison in a straight V, doing just what they're supposed to do. Ants, they come up to get food and they do it in a group. Human beings take their power and they take life for granted and people for granted that, doesn't serve them no good in the end. So, just be careful who you build with. Be careful who you break bread with. And, it's a Steve Penn message, man. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Have you ever been around someone that you felt discernment, that you knew that you was going to fool with? You know what I mean? That you knew this wasn't probably a good person to build with, because they'll show you signs. All you got to do is pay attention and trust your gut feeling. You know what I'm saying? So it's a Steve Penn message. New music dropping soon. You guys stay tuned. It's me, SP. Your boy's out. Peace.